Good morning. Today we will start with studying heat conduction. Heat conduction in cylinders and spheres. Consider study heat conduction through a hot water pipe. Heat is constantly lost to the outdoors through the walls of pipe, and we feel that heat transfer through pipe is in normal direction to the pipe surface and no significant heat transfer take place in the pipe in other directions. The wall of pipe, whose thickness is rather small, separates two fluids at different temperature, and thus the temperature gradient in the radial direction will be relatively large. Further, if the fluid temperature in the outside and inside the pipe remain constant, then heat transfer through the pipe is steady. Thus, heat transfer through pipe can be modeled as steady and one-dimensional. So, temperature in this case in the pipe will depend on direction only, that is radial direction, means temperature is a function of R. The temperature is independent of the azimuthal angle or the axial distance. This situation is approximate in practice in long cylinder pipes and spherical containers. So in steady operation, there is no change in temperature of pipe with time at any point. Therefore, rate of heat transfer into the pipe must be equal to the rate of heat transfer out of the pipe. In other words, heat transfer through the pipe must be constant, means heat transfer is equal to constant. So consider this long cylinder with inner radius R1, outer radius R2 and length L, and the average thermal conductivity for this is K. The inner surface is maintained at temperature T1, outer at T2. Then for Fourier law, heat conduction can be written as minus K dt by dr. This is cylinder, so area is 2 pi RL. Replace area as 2 pi RL, where dt vary from T1 to T2 and dr vary from R to R1. Take the limits and on integration you will get, after integration you will get this equation. Now here this term is your resistance of the cylinder, which is R cylinder in this case. We can repeat this analysis above for spherical layer by taking area is equal to 4 pi r square and putting value of area 4 pi r square here, and when you solve this you will get this equation where resistance in case of sphere is R2 minus R1 by 4 pi R1 R2 K. So is the thermal resistance of spherical layer against heat conduction, or simply the conduction resistance of spherical layer. Consider another example where this is your cylinder, or you can say spherical layer, that is exposed to conduction on both sides to the fluids at temperature T infinity and temperature T infinity at the outer side with the heat transfer coefficient H1 and H2. Now for this layer, the thermal resistance network in this case consists of one conduction and two convection resistance in series, just like the one for the plane wall. So here heat transfer is equal to T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2 divided by total resistance, where total resistance is the sum of this resistance which are in series, convection resistance 1, cylinder resistance, and convection resistance 2. So this is your convective resistance, where 2 pi RL is the area of the inner side of the cylinder, and here 2 pi R2L is the area of the outer side of the cylinder, where this is the resistance within the cylinder thickness. So instead of these places you can write for spherical layer. In case of spherical, this resistance will be here. So note A in the convention resistance relation, R convection is equal to 1 by HA is the surface area at which convection occurs, which is this part 1 by H into this is your area. It is equal to 2 pi RL in case of cylinder, and it is equal to 4 pi r square in case of sphere, multi-layered cylinder and spheres. So steady heat transfer through multi-layered cylindrical or spherical shell can be handled just like multi-layered plane wall discussed earlier by simply adding an additional resistance in series for each additional layer. For example, steady heat transfer rate through 3-layered composite cylinder of length L shown in this figure is T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2 divided by R total, where R total is the resistance at the convective resistance. then the resistance of the first cylinder, second cylinder, third cylinder, and then your convective resistance here. So this is the R total here, where this is convective resistance, this is resistor to the first layer, second layer of cylinder, third layer cylinder, this is convective heat resistance. Once Q is known, you can find any intermediate temperature, means you can find the temperature at this interface, this interface. If Q is known, T infinity 1 is known, you can find T2. If R convective and R cylinder is known, you can solve this for T2. You can also calculate in this way for the from T2 to T infinity 2, means for this layer and this layer and this, you can solve for T2 also. You can find the value of T2 with this formula. If you know R2, R3 and R convective, T infinity 2 is known, that the heat here at this interface, and this T2 is the temperature of the fluid on this side. So these terms here, that is del T by R, here they will remain constant in one-dimensional steady conduction. Critical radius of insulation. We know that adding more insulation to a wall or to a attic always decrease heat transfer. The thicker the insulation, the lower the heat transfer rate. This is expected since the heat transfer area A is constant, and adding insulation always increase the thermal contact resistance of the wall without increasing the convection resistance. Adding insulation to a cylindrical pipe or a spherical shell, however, is a different matter. The additional insulation increases the conduction resistance of the insulation layer but decrease the convection resistance of the surface because of increase in the outer surface area of convection. Because you can see when you add the insulation, this area will be more with the thickness. If the insulation is much thicker, your area at the outer surface is more. So if area will increase, your convection heat loss will increase or convection heat transfer will increase. The heat transfer from the pipe may increase or decrease depending on which effect dominates. So we have to find. Now consider a cylindrical pipe of outer radius R1 whose outer surface temperature is T1 is maintained constant. The pipe is now insulated with a material whose thermal conductivity is a K and outer radius is R2. So this is the insulation. Heat is lost from the pipe to the surrounding medium at temperature T infinity with a convection heat transfer coefficient H. The rate of heat transfer from the insulated pipe to the surrounding is equal to T1 minus T infinity divided by these two resistors, which is the resistance of this insulation and convective resistance, which are in series. So this will become equal to this. Now if there is no insulation, so this is the heat transfer in case of bare pipe. Now when you add the insulation, means when you add insulation and you will go in this direction, the heat transfer actually start to increase. Means even after addition of insulation, the heat transfer will increase and it will reach to a maximum heat transfer, that is Q maximum. Then further if you add the insulation, means if you add more insulation, if you increase this R2, then your heat transfer start to decrease. So the variation of Q with the outer radius of insulation R2 is plotted in this figure. The value of R2 at which Q reach maximum is determined from the requirement that the derivative of this is equal to 0, because at this point the slope is 0. So when you take the derivative of this equation with respect to R2, you will get 0, and that is the point where your maximum heat transfer. Performing the differentiation and solving for R2 yields the critical radius of insulation of our cylinder body. So R critical is equal to K upon H. So critical radius of insulation depends on the thermal conductivity of the insulation and the external convection heat transfer coefficient H. The rate of heat transfer from the cylinder increase with the addition of insulation when R2 is less than critical radius. Means if you are in this region, your rate of heat transfer will actually increase even after the addition of insulation, and it will reach maximum when R2 is equal to the critical radius and start to decrease for R2 greater than critical. The important question here is whether we need to concerned about the critical radius of insulation when insulating hot water pipes or even hot water tanks. Should we always check and make sure that the radius of insulation exceed the critical radius before we install any insulation? This is explained below. The value of critical radius will be the largest when K is large and H is small. Noting that the lowest value of H encountered in practice, which is due to the natural convection, is 5 watt per meter square for the case of natural convection of gases, and the thermal conductivity of common insulating materials range between 0.05 watt per meter square. So you can put value of K, which is the normal case, that is 0.05 watt per meter degree Celsius for insulated, and this H5, you will get critical radius equal to 1 centimeter. It means this value would be even smaller if the radiation effects are considered. The critical radius would be much less in forced convection, even less than 1 mm. So this is case of natural convection. The critical radius should be, in the case of natural convection, is 1 centimeter. But if you consider forced convection, it will come out to be 1 mm. So when this value is 1 mm, which is very small, because of much large H values associated with forced convection, the value of critical radius will be very small. If you increase the H, this R value will decrease. So it means we can insulate hot water or steam pipes freely without worrying about the possibility of increasing the heat transfer by insulating the pipes. Means we can use any thickness of the material for insulation, because the critical thickness here is 1 mm. So you can insulate the pipes with any thickness without worrying of the increase of the heat loss from the pipe. But this concept is useful in case of electrical wire. In case of electrical wire, we want to increase the heat transfer by insulating the electrical wire with the material. The radius of electric wire may be smaller than the critical radius. Therefore, the plastic electrical insulation may actually enhance the heat transfer from electric wires and thus keep their steady operating temperature at lower and thus safer level, because electrical wire are usually less than 1 centimeter. So if it means if you add insulation on the electrical wire, that will actually enhance the heat transfer, because in case of electrical wire we lie in this region between R1 and R critical. R1 is the radius of electrical wire which is bare, and R critical is the amount of insulation material which we wound on the electrical wire, which actually increase the heat transfer in case of electrical wire, so which is beneficial. The above discussion can be elaborated for the sphere also. In case of sphere, the critical radius is equal to 2K by H, heat transfer from the finished surface. The rate of heat transfer from the surface as a temperature Ts to the surrounding medium at T infinity is given by Newton's law of cooling, which is HAS Ts minus T infinity. Usually surface temperature and if T infinity are fixed. So how you can increase the convective heat transfer here? Either by increasing this H value, you can increase the convective heat transfer coefficient, or either by increasing the area of surface, you can increase the heat transfer coefficient. Increasing H may require the installation of a pump or fan, means we will have to use forced convection, or placing the existing pump with a larger one. But this approach may or may not be practical. Besides, we use the alternative. Alternative is to increase the surface area by attaching to the surface extended surfaces called fins made of highly conductive materials such as aluminium. So this is the surface from where you have to transfer the heat. So these are the fins on the electronic components you can see on the chips. So these are extended surfaces so that we can increase the surface area for the heat transfer. Finned surfaces are manufactured by extruding, welding or wrapping a thin metal sheet on the surface. The closely packed thin metal sheets attached to the hot water tubes increase the surface area for convection and thus the rate of convection heat transfer from the tubes to the air many times. So these thin plate fins of a car radiator increase the rate of heat transfer to the air. Like this video, subscribe this channel, and thank you for watching this video.